Dead Souls, Part 1, Chapter 5, Section 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Dead Souls by Nikolai Vasilievich Gogol. Translated by D.J. Hogarth. Part 1, Chapter 5, Section 2. Read by Ewan Bayliss. "This is my wife, Theodulia Ivanovna," said Sobakevitch. Chichikov approached and took her hand. The fact that she raised it nearly to the level of his lips apprised him of the circumstances, that it had just been rinsed in cucumber oil. "My dear, allow me to introduce Paul Ivanovitch Chichikov," added Sobakevitch. "He has the honour of being acquainted with both our governor and with our postmaster." Upon this, Theodulia Ivanovna requested her guest to be seated, and accompanied the invitation with the kind of bow usually employed only by actresses who are playing the role of queens. Next, she took a seat upon the sofa, drew around her merino gown, and sat thereafter without moving an eyelid or an eyebrow. As for Chichikov, he glanced upwards, and once more caught sight of Canaris with his fat thighs and interminable moustache, and of Bobelina and the blackbird. For fully 5 minutes all present preserved a complete silence, the only sound audible being that of the blackbird's beak against the wooden floor of the cage as the creature fished for grains of corn. Meanwhile Chichikov again surveyed the room, and saw that everything in it was massive and clumsy in the highest degree, as also that everything was curiously in keeping with the master of the house. For example, in one corner of the apartment there stood a hazelwood bureau with a bulging body on 4 grotesque legs, the perfect image of a bear. Also, the tables and the chairs were of the same ponderous, unrestful order, and every single article in the room appeared to be saying either, "I too am a Sobakevitch," or "I am exactly like Sobakevitch." "I heard speak of you one day when I was visiting the President of the Council," said Chichikov, on perceiving that no one else had a mind to begin a conversation. "That was on Thursday last. We had a very pleasant evening." "Yes, on that occasion I was not there," replied Sobakevitch. "What a nice man he is!" "Who is?" inquired Sobakevitch, gazing into the corner by the stove. "The President of the local council." "Did he seem so to you? True, he is a mason, but he is also the greatest fool that the world ever saw." Chichikov started a little at this mordant criticism, but soon pulled himself together again and continued, "Of course, every man has his weakness. Yet the President seems to be an excellent fellow." "And do you think the same of the Governor?" "Yes, why not?" "Because there exists no greater rogue than he." "What, the Governor a rogue?" ejaculated Chichikov, at a loss to understand how the official in question could come to be numbered with thieves. "Let me say that I should never have guessed it. Permit me also to remark that his conduct would hardly seem to bear out your opinion. He seems so gentle a man." And in proof of this Chichikov cited the purses which the Governor knitted, and also expatiated on the mildness of his features. "He has the face of a robber," said Sobakevitch. "Were you to give him a knife and to turn him loose on a turnpike, he would cut your throat for 2 kopecks. And the same with the Vice Governor. The pair are just Gog and Magog." "Evidently he is not on good terms with them," thought Chichikov to himself. I had better pass on to the chief of police, with whom he does seem to be friendly. Accordingly, he added aloud, For my own part, I should give the preference to the head of the gendarmerie. What a frank, outspoken nature he has, and what an element of simplicity does his expression contain! He is mean to the core, remarked Sobakevitch coldly. He will sell you and cheat you, and then dine at your table. Yes, I know them all, and every one of them is a swindler, and the town a nest of rascals engaged in robbing one another. Not a man of the lot is there but would sell Christ. Yet stay, one decent fellow there is, the public prosecutor, though even he, if the truth be told, is little better than a pig. After these eulogia, Chichikov saw that it would be useless to continue running through the list of officials, more especially since suddenly he had remembered that Sobakevitch was not at any time given to commending his fellow man. "Let us go to luncheon, my dear," put in Theodulia Ivanovna to her spouse. "Yes, pray come to table," said Sobakevitch to his guest, whereupon they consumed the customary glass of vodka, accompanied by sundry snacks of salted cucumber and other dainties, with which Russians, both in town and country, preface a meal. Then they filed into the dining room, in the wake of the hostess, who sailed on ahead like a goose swimming across a pond. The small dining table was found to be laid for 4 persons, the fourth place being occupied by a lady or a young girl, it would have been difficult to say which exactly, who might have been either a relative, the housekeeper, or a casual visitor. Certain persons in the world exist, not as personalities in themselves, but as spots or specks on the personalities of others. Always they are to be seen sitting in the same place, and holding their heads at exactly the same angle, so that one comes within an ace of mistaking them for furniture, and thinks to oneself that never since the day of their birth can they have spoken a single word. "My dear," said Sobakevitch, "the cabbage soup is excellent." With that he finished his portion, and helped himself to a generous measure of niania, (Footnote: literally nursemaid.) The dish which follows chi, and consists of a sheep's stomach stuffed with black porridge, brains, and other things. "What niania this is!" he added to Chichikov. "Never would you get such stuff in a town, where one is given the devil knows what." "Nevertheless, the governor keeps a fair table," said Chichikov. "Yes, but do you know what all the stuff is made of?" retorted Sobakevitch. "If you did know, you would never touch it." "Of course I am not in a position to say how it is prepared, but at least the pork cutlets and the boiled fish seemed excellent." "Ah, it might have been thought so. Yet I know the way in which such things are bought in the market-place. They are bought by some rascal of a cook whom a Frenchman has taught how to skin a tomcat and then serve it up as hare." What horrible things you say!" put in Madame. "Well, my dear, that is how things are done, and it is no fault of mine that it is so. Moreover, everything that is left over, everything that we pardon me for mentioning it cast into the slop pail, is used by such folk for making soup." "Always at table you begin talking like this," objected his helpmeet. "And why not?" said Sobakevitch. "I tell you straight that I would not eat such nastiness, even had I made it myself. Sugar a frog as much as you like, but never shall it pass my lips. Nor would I swallow an oyster, for I know only too well what an oyster may resemble. But have some mutton, friend Chichikov. It is a shoulder of mutton, and very different stuff from the mutton which they cook in noble kitchens. mutton which has been kicking about the market place 4 days or more.